Have you noticed a trend of Muslims co-opting self-help rhetoric and literature with an Islamic flavor?
Yes. It seems today, almost every other day, you have a new Muslim coach, a new Muslim, self-development, course, and a new this and a new that. And the question I think that we should all be asking ourselves is, how much are you grounded in Islamic sciences? When you look at comments on videos, you come across these hysterical, oh, is he saying? No, that's not what I'm saying.
No, I'm not worried at all. I rely on God, Allah.
Have you noticed a trend of Muslims co-opting self-help rhetoric and literature and co-opting it with an Islamic flavor?
Yes. What I find scary and alarming is before younger generation of Muslims, they wanted to be, mashayikh, they wanted to be imams, they wanted to be Muslim scholars, they wanted to be fuqaha, they wanted to be, the learned people. It seems today, almost every other day, you have a new Muslim coach, a new Muslim, self-development, course, and a new this and a new that. And the question I think that we should all be asking ourselves is, how much are you grounded in Islamic sciences? Because it's only through the grounding of Islamic sciences that you're going to be able to filter the nonsense that the liberal agenda is shoving down our throats. But if you don't have just even the basic fundamental bedrock understanding of what Islam is and what Islam isn't, you're probably going to create a lot of damage. Although you mean well, you intend well, but you're creating a lot of damage and you're creating a lot of havoc simply because you don't know that what they're telling you is normal in Islam. It's not. I'll give you an example, okay? So when I come across the word controlling husband, when I come across the word abusive husband, I do not fall off of my chair. Do you know why? Because when I look at through the liberal lens, a controlling husband or an abusive husband could very well translate Islamically to a qawam. Does that make sense? And I think this is where we have to be extra, extra careful, because in liberal society, a man doesn't have a say. He shouldn't be telling his wife what to do, how to dress, where to go, who to go with, and so on and so forth. In Islam, that's not the same. You cannot bring that epistemic language into Islam, because in Islam, I as the husband, she, my wife, my women folk, they are my responsibility. So I have to know who she's befriending. I have to know where she is, who she's going out with. Are these good friends or not? And so on, because again, I will be asked about her on Judgment Day. So what I'm afraid of is you have a woman who comes in and the man is he's not abusive at all. Islamically speaking, it's not that he's, verbally abusive. He's just telling her, for example, honey, no, I don't think that's appropriate. I don't want you leaving the house like that. That's not appropriate. Who are you to tell me how to dress? See, this is where you as a wife have a huge problem. That's your husband's duty to make sure that you do not leave like that. Because guess what? The burden falls on him and you, of course, but because he has that responsibility, he's the qawam. So you have sometimes men, they're simply exercising their qawamah. And again, I do not want my words to be minced or mistranslated or misconstrued. This is not to say that abuse is not a valid thing out there. This is not to say that there are not controlling men out there, because when you look at comments on videos, you come across these hysterical, oh, is he saying? No, that's not what I'm saying. So you always feel like doing this for a while, you always want to cover your cross your T's and you always want to cover your bases, right? This is not what I'm saying, but this is just one example that I've come across, is that yes, you might describe him as, a controlling, abusive husband, but Islamically speaking, this is simply a qawam. If you went back 40, 60 years ago, this was normal for men to do across cultures, right? To want to make sure your wife is in before dark, for example. That you don't want your wife leaving work, finding herself in a parking lot, in an empty parking lot at 1 o'clock in the morning alone. Yeah, he has the right. He has every right. That's not just his right. That's his duty. It's his right and duty to know all that information, right? And again, tying this back into scholars, why is this not the norm? Why is this not at every Friday khutbah? Why is it that our dear sisters, wives and sisters are not hearing this at the Friday khutbahs or at these national conventions?